All right, Coin Bureau fam, Bitcoin has set the absolute trap. I cannot wait to show you exactly what I'm looking at because this trap is going to catch a lot of people off guard. I can see it happening now. I can see the hype post, everything going on in the market at the moment. X lighting up, 80K Bitcoin, 80K Bitcoin. But in my eyes, the ultimate trap has been set. Now, we always have to take things in the crypto market as they come, but as it stands right now, I've got to break this down for you. I've got to show you exactly what I'm looking at. And I hope you guys like the new background. I've set up a full studio now at home, so the streams are going to be absolutely smick. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait to dive into this also. Let's get straight into it. If you haven't done so already, make sure you smack the like button. Make sure you hit up all the comments. You know, if we hit over 100, we're going to do a giveaway. So if we can get over 100 people watching at the exact same time, we're going to do a giveaway. We're going to do 100 USDT. So if you haven't done so already, make sure you share the stream out. Make sure you pump it out there with all your friends. Share it on socials. Get this absolutely pumping. I'm also going to be on the main Coin Bureau channel today as well. So if you are around, jump onto there. It'd be great to see you all. But without further ado, I want to get into it because I seriously believe we have set up one of the biggest Bitcoin traps in a very, very long time. And we just saw some massive swings on the market. So team, let's get straight into it. Let me know if you like the new layout as well in the comments. I've got a lot to get through today, but the big one firstly is Bitcoin. Now, I'm going to make this as simple and as easy as possible, all right? Within the first 5 minutes, you're going to understand exactly what I've set up here, all right? Now, I've made these charts so easy to understand. I reduced all the noise, every little bit of it. Okay, I want to give you guys my ultimate analysis and to keep it as simple as possible. So the first thing I wanted to bring you guys attention to is the weekly time frame. All right, the weekly time frame is one of the biggest ones right now that I truly believe every single person should be watching. All right, don't worry about the 1 hours. Don't worry about the 4 hour time frames. Don't worry about your 30 minutes right now, unless you're scalp trading, and they'll be relevant. But if you're not in the position to scalp trade, if you're not in the position to be sitting in front of the computer, the weekly time frame is telling you all the story you need right now. Look at this. What we have here is the classic double bottom formation, all right? This is very simple. We come down, we retest two of the lows, price punches up. Now, as it stands right now, price is sitting at a major resistance zone. It is simple as that. Between the point of 78,000 and 79,500, price is sitting at the resistance point. Now, the clear indicator here for me to tell you guys of what I'm seeing, it's one of my favorite patterns alongside the inverted hammer. It is the opposite, okay? When we get into this, and when we were down here, we were doing our live streams, and I said, this is the first early indicator. You can see the big inverted hammer that is sat here on Bitcoin, and from there, we've punched up about 20%. So that's off 65,000 all the way through to 78,000. Now, the reverse is starting to form. You guys know, I don't really care what the price of Bitcoin is. Okay, I have no bias. I can show you guys now. I took a trade, the trade from today that played out for me. I cleared $2,920 for a 0.83% account growth. All right, so my trade for the day is done. My month for the trade, I've done one win, one trade, happy days. I can move on. I want to show you guys now what I'm seeing here. Right now, we've got what's called the hanging man formation. So if you guys don't know, the hanging man formation at a level of resistance is typically a large scale hammer, which indicates the fact that buyers struggled to push price above a resistance point. That resistance point being around 79,500. Now, let me break this down again even further for you all. If we had a big bullish green candle into the resistance point, technically, you would want to see the next green candle be at a higher point. You'd want that candle to punch above the resistance point. What this tells me right now, when you break it down, is right here, right now, and despite the fact that the drawing tool is very crap in TradingView, right, is that area here that you can see where you've got this wick to the top of the range. 1 second. stretch. All right, not going to stretch, but that's okay. Anyway, the wick here to the top of the range essentially tells you that buyers struggle to punch price above resistance. So the next thing that I expect to happen is quite simple. We come back and we get a retest of the 74 to 75,000 range. That would also give Bitcoin the retest of the double bottom formation. Whenever we typically get a double bottom formation, like you can see here, you then typically get the retest after the breakout. And right now, we've got the resistance point being clearly identified as a hanging man. Buyers were struggling to push price above. So essentially sellers stopped it at the resistance. That means, think about it like this. You're constantly buying. Eventually, you're going to run out of fuel. That's what a hanging man represents. That essentially buyers have run out of fuel. They didn't have enough to break through that pressure. Now, essentially, they need to reload. So I look at this and go, well, hey, we've had a typical fake out on a Monday, which we had today. Now I'm expecting price to get rejected and essentially come all the way back down to around that $75,000 mark where we saw Bitcoin trending. Now, let me show you this on a larger time frame, because this lines up with the whole narrative of, selling may go away. Look at this on the monthly, all right? Despite all the noise, I'm going to tell you guys now, stuff the headlines, stuff it all, because today we had the US was coming in and talking about the fact that they're guiding ships through the Strait of Hormuz. And then all of a sudden, 2 seconds later, you see another headline, US futures markets are tanking based upon the fact of, risk escalations in the Middle East. So the headlines are going to throw the markets all week. They're going to keep throwing things around. The charts is what's going to tell you and decipher what is really happening. And that's my own personal opinion. You guys can tell me otherwise. But there is one big formation that a lot of people still aren't focusing on, right? It is right now, as you can see, we have what's called a big morning star formation. Now, for you guys that jumped on last week, if you recall, I also put this together for you. So again, if you haven't noticed, one of my favorite formations is the morning star formation, right? I put that together for you all. You've all got it. You can download it, show you guys here. Where is it? Under resources. I put together a guide for you all so you could all download this. It's all available. The link's in the description. There's no shills here or anything. This is completely free for you all. But it was my guide to my framework of trading. Now, as I said, one of my favorite ones here is the morning star formation. You can see that here, right? Strong candlestick formation, 3 bars, tells you and represents the fact of buyers are stepping into the market. That is a good sign. What I don't have on here is some of my secret sauce. So in that instance, typically when you have a morning star formation form, the next big thing I want to look for is the retest of the morning star. Now, you might be thinking, Matt, how do you retest the morning star? What the hell do you mean? Let me break this down for you even further. And this is critical because if I'm looking for an entry on a long position on Bitcoin, I'm not buying now, right? I'm not buying on the hopium train that, oh my God, 80,000's here, next is 85, next is 90. Before you know it, people calling 150K Bitcoin again. That is not the case. What I'm looking for is the retest this morning star to set me up with a potential long entry. How do I do that? Quite simple. Take note of this. Grab the Fibonacci tool, whack it on the bottom of the candlestick, drag it to the top of the last candlestick formation that formed of the morning star. That will typically line up with areas of retests. So in this situation, the retest zone for that morning star formation will be anywhere between the 50 fib level at 72,000 and all the way down here to $70,000. All right. Now, take into consideration 2 things. This is where we're going to the next level of understanding with Bitcoin. And guys, be very honest with you all. I said it to my community this morning when I had a live call with them for an hour. I said, I do not give a shit about the altcoins this week. Straight out the gate, very simple, very flat. I do not care about the altcoins right now. Right? The main culprit that is going to dictate the moves this week in the crypto space, in my opinion, is purely Bitcoin. Everything else, yes, it will give you trading opportunities, but the dictation in which they move, I truly believe will be dictated by Bitcoin. The reason being, it's simple. What we just had this morning on Bitcoin, so within the Asia market into the crossover of London, is a classic liquidity grab. Fake move Mondays. Spiked up, headlines popped, X lights up, 80K Bitcoin, boom, crashes down and dumps $2,000. All right, that's when I filled this short position. That's when this short position took profit on that dump. All right. Now, there's two scenarios that you've got to remember. There's a CME gap sitting around here, and there's also a big fat CME gap sitting down here. The question is, which one is going to fill first? I have my bets on the fact of price coming back down towards this level here, which is the retest of the Morningstar, and is also the retest of the double bottom formation. So let me know in your comments, do you think we're currently in a trap situation, or are you riding the hopium train in the fact that Bitcoin's going to move to 83,000 straight away? And I'm going to give you guys some data behind this as to why I truly do believe that this here is still a major possibility. And right now, everyone is caught up in the fact of that we're moving and we're moving up, but we still have not broken the range. Now, let me show you guys this. Let me show you this next big piece. Again, a lot of people miss out on because they get too caught up, right? Let's look at this on the weekly time, sorry, on the daily time frame for a moment. Reality is there's two channels we're working with here. There's this one here, right? And this one here. So you've got a channel between here on Bitcoin, which you can see that's very clear. That's between 66,000 and 74,000. We've been monitoring that this entire stream. So you've been following on the streams. This is what we've been lining up for. Now, the next channel is between here. Is between 74,000 and 78,000. Bitcoin has not broken out yet. I can't say that enough. Bitcoin has not broken out yet. Again, you can tell me otherwise. I'm more than happy to contest with me. Throw your analysis around. I'm all for it. You can drop it everywhere. You can drop it on my socials. You can tag me on X. Whatever you want. My opinion right now, Bitcoin has not broken out just yet. Okay? If we look to the left, you can see there is a large gap there. That is a clear point of resistance. It is the clear pressure point where last time Bitcoin tanked. Okay? We are still trapped within that range. And right now, that is what I see there. Now, I want to show you guys the next piece of the data situation on what I'm watching. I'm going to flip the chart completely. We're going to split this into two. If you guys can't see it clearly, write it in the comments because I want to make sure that you guys have this down pat and actually understand the logic behind this particular move in which I'm watching. All right. So the next one is I want to bring your attention to the S&P 500. Now, you guys can contest me as much as humanly possible and that you wish. But however way you want to skin it, Bitcoin moves alongside the S&P 500. All right? I don't care what you say. Otherwise, it is just the fact in this case. Now, look at this. I marked this out earlier today, and I want to show you guys this. All right? I'm going to try and line up these charts the best way possible so that we're well aligned. There we go there. I'll move it over a little bit just so that we've got it perfectly aligned. Now, one thing I want to bring your attention to, all right, I'm going to remove this one just for the time being, just to make it a little bit clear. Look at the difference here, all right? When Bitcoin, let me move this over, we're still not aligned. Sorry, guys. Give us a second. Give me a second. It's always a struggle. When you do it live and you cut and zoom and you're doing YouTube videos, there's a difference, major difference. Now, if you look at this, right, last time Bitcoin ran from $9,000 all the way up to 67,000 or 73,000, right? That's where we were here, right? It was 1,132% move, and the S&P at the same time punched about 121%. Now, again, guys, I haven't dialed this into an absolute T, but the numbers are there. Now, if you look at this last time, when the S&P moved from October 22 to the recent high, which was a 73% move, Bitcoin jumped from 13,000 all the way up to essentially $110,000. Now, the last time then we had, and I missed this one, let me just add this one in for you guys, 1 second, from the 78K move all the way up to the all-time high of 126,000, Bitcoin moves 62%. That was from this recent drop to the high, right? And that was roughly a 45% move on the S&P. Now, where we are currently is this little situation. Let me just remove all the noise and show you guys this. Okay? Don't worry about this. The only section we're looking at is this green candle. Now look at the difference here. The S&P's only moved 14%, right? Bitcoin's moved 28%. But this is the difference right now. This is the difference people are not paying attention to. The S&P put in an all-time high. The Bitcoin is still down at 78%. Every other time, and we look back, that the S&P has gone ahead and put in an all-time high, what has Bitcoin essentially done? S&P all-time high, Bitcoin all-time high. S&P all-time high, Bitcoin all-time high. S&P all-time high, Bitcoin all-time high. Right now, Bitcoin down, S&P all-time high. So, look at these two situations. Is Bitcoin delayed in the run? Or has the S&P set up a massive trap which could potentially send Bitcoin down even further because it hasn't followed suit? So, this is the next phase of the analysis. Guys, from a data perspective, this is what I love to do. And I love to break this down because this is where the difference is between writing the hopium and actually being a trader and looking at the data. And then at the same time, being okay to lock in profits versus hoping the market continues to go up. That's where people get wrecked. And that's what we call people just going around the world, hoping that the market continues to move and never essentially taking profits. It's like if you bought Ethereum 5 years ago, you're basically in the exact same position. You might as well have spent your money elsewhere. Now, if you're looking at this is the next best bit, right? I want to show you guys this. And this one here, I'm going to flip it side by side so it's a little bit easier to see, right? We have the next possible target on the S&P 500, right? Which is very simple. I'm going to run my Fibonacci levels from the bottom, from the top to the bottom. Now that gives me a target of the 1618, right? If you guys are on here right now, set an alert at 7,421. If you haven't done so already, set that alert. I can't stress it enough with you all. That is my rejection point for the S&P 500 is 7,421. Fibonacci ratios allows you to predict resistance points before they ever occur. All right. Now, look at this. From where we are now, it's a 2.5, let's say 2.7% move. All right. I'm just going to say 2% because it's easier. It's not a tongue twister. Watch for that to happen and watch to see where Bitcoin lands. All right. Because the situation now, I'm going to switch this chart back over to this one that we were just using. All right. Is the situation here is if Bitcoin does not, let me be clear, if this moves 2.5% and Bitcoin is still trapped under here, in my eyes, it's not going to end well. The reason it's not going to end well is because we've just looked at the data and Bitcoin loves to follow the S&P 500. We've seen that. We just literally went through it. If this moves to this point and then rejects, that will wipe billions off the stock market because, again, it's a much larger cap. Think percentages though, right? It'll drop 2.5% if it rejects off this point. And if Bitcoin in that time has not retaken this zone here and pumped back above this point at 85,000, then the rejection is going to be quite harsh in my opinion, right? The wonky line because of the thing, because of the drawing tool. Are you guys following on? Ask me comments. If you are not following on, this is the point in which you ask the comment because the situation, like I'm saying, is if this moves and then starts consolidating or rejecting, right? And this has not broken above this point yet, and then essentially retaken the 0.27 to give it the opportunity to trade within this new range, because that's essentially where you want to get Bitcoin to. You want it to retake the next major support level so that it starts trading the next range. That's between 84,000 and essentially we'll say 95,000 to round it off. But as it stands, we're nowhere near it. So if this moves the next 2.5%, and this is still fluffing about underneath this resistance point, and then the S&P rejects, well, I'm sorry, but this to me looks like it's going to be going down here. And again, guys, I have no bias. I don't hold Bitcoin. I don't hold alt. I'm a trader. That's all I care about. So I've got to think predictively on how I think these things are going to be playing out. So that's what I'm thinking is going to happen on Bitcoin right now. Is this is really the catalyst in which we need to watch for. And as it stands, Bitcoin hasn't broken out, but the last candle that closed on the weekly, to me, is a hanging man. It's at a key level of resistance. And for me, I believe that we're truly still going to be coming back towards this $74,000 mark, which is going to give us the retest on the double bottom. Retest of the Morningstar is deeper at around 70, and we still know there is a CME gap sitting around 67,000. Right now, there is a shitload of resistance still above that Bitcoin is struggling to break out of. How are we feeling? Because I think we just deep dive the hell out of Bitcoin, and I don't think I have seen anyone do a deeper analysis on YouTube about Bitcoin and the fundamental aspect of how it's correlated to the S&P 500 and the fact of the analysis of where it currently sits. If you want to know the next big one, it's this. It's very, very simple. Still in a massive fat bear flag that still has not broken out, which again just rejected off the $80,600 mark. So again, guys, there's a lot of hopium out there at the moment. I know, I understand it. Bitcoin has pushed up 23% or so, 21%, but it has not broken out. I can't stress that enough, right? I wish I could give you guys a little bit more hopium, but it hasn't. And the other big one is watching the oil prices, because oil has again broken out like we spoke about last week. It broke out, retested. It's again holding. We're getting the push today. As long as this continues to fluctuate between there, it's going to cause a bit of an angst on the risk assets as well. So that is my analysis on Bitcoin. Now, I've got about another few minutes to go through some altcoins. I thought I'll show you guys a couple of altcoins, but again, I want to make something very crystal clear. The big fact of everything right now is watching this. Now, I've dumped these charts. I dumped a bunch just back into Empire recently, again from today's live call, so you guys can check them out. And also, I'll be whacking them on my X account as well. So if you aren't following me on socials, make sure you are already. Because again, I post a lot of charts on X. I post more detailed charts within my own community. And again, you can click that link below in the description. Compliments of Coin Bureau, you can join for free. And there's also some premium stuff in there as well for you guys. Now, a couple of altcoins. It's very simple. Well, I was talking to you guys last week about this link. I set an alert. I said to you guys, I set an alert around $9 mark. We got the $9 liquidity wick, right? My alert went off. Again, I did not enter this trade because at the moment, again, I'm very adverse on altcoins, to be completely honest. But again, this here, liquidity grab, we've got no breakout on this either, still on link, but we did hit the $9 alert. The other one was Solana. It hit the alert as well. I remember I said to you guys, I had an alert set $83. We're back at this range now. The big one here for Solana, in which I'm not liking, to be very, very honest with everyone, is typically Solana moves alongside Bitcoin. But at the moment, it's actually not doing that. It's become relatively stable. Now, some people might go, that's a good thing. But from a trading opportunity, like the stability isn't great. At least if Bitcoin was moving, this was moving alongside with it, then we're going to have some good fluctuations and we can capitalize. So I haven't traded this at all. I've left it there. It hasn't really given me much. I did have some people asking me about hype. So if you guys recall, we've been monitoring hype quite closely. And the alert that I had set at around $38 went off as well. But again, I didn't enter this. I think we're going to come back and still get back down towards that $39 mark, especially if Bitcoin continues to wipe off today's gains. So again, the $38 mark, we've got the liquidity wick. You can see that they're covered in blue off the 50 EMA. That played out quite well. But we haven't got the next order zone form yet. I think once we get an order zone filled up here, then it'll give us a bit of a trajectory around towards that $49 mark as well. So whack it in the comments. If you want me to have a look at anything in particular quickly, I'm more than happy to. I just wanted to make sure you guys have got a lot of this information down pat. If you haven't done so as well already, guys, we're 20 people off getting a giveaway. So if you can smack in 20 people to watch this live right now, we'll do a 100 USDT giveaway. But unless we hit it, we're not going to be able to do that. And if you haven't done so already, guys, make sure you smash the comments, hit the like button. It always helps get this stream pumping out to everyone. And the guys at Coin Bureau doing an exceptional job to give you guys as much value as possible. The total, I'm not going to even bother with that one at the moment. ZEC, actually, before I forget, Guys, if you go back through the streams, right? If you go back through the streams, if you recall, we had the perfect setup on this. It was a 28% move with a nice reasonable stop loss just below that level at about 6% from memory. It was a 4.6 risk to reward ratio trade, approximately 28%, has played out perfectly. Now, today I had someone message me asking me, hey, what do you think about Zcash now? I said, well, look, you've sort of missed the boat, unfortunately. We traded it up and we had a look at it last week and it played out perfectly, 28% move, happy days. The way I look at Zcash now is very simple. I'm not buying where it is now because it's going to run straight into resistance. So I've got no interest in that. If I was to enter a trade here, that would be my next target. The risk to reward is absolutely shocking, right? You don't want to trade that. So I'm waiting for a possible retest back towards that level. I'll put my stop loss in just so it covers that liquidity wick below. And that'll give me about a 4 risk to reward ratio. So I'll set an alert here at $387. We'll see how that lines up. But this thing here has played out perfectly. Breaking trend, double bottom, retest, breakout. Happy days, it's in a strong movement now. So I'll continue to monitor this one as well. So let me have a look. Tao. Oh, we can have a look at that. Hi, guys. Everyone's saying hello. Love it. If you guys are enjoying this, this is what we all love. So make sure you're punching it out there. Tao. Let me have a look at Tao. Let me have a look. I do have it here. One moment. Let me just find it. There it is. So Tao got dumped on after some news came out of some insiders dumping a whole bunch of price action. A whole bunch of tokens, sorry. As it stands at the moment, it's still below the resistance point. So if you're trading this, you're basically trading into resistance right now. I would want to see closes on the weekly time frame to be completely honest. This is how I would love for this to play out: is a breakout, a retest on the weekly, then opens up a gap like that, which is a major move. It's about 77%. But the reality is, if you look to the left, like that's the range, but it's the range on the weekly time frame. So it's a matter of how much patience you want to have. From a CCI, I always like to check this to check the momentum where it's at. That's in the over purchase zone. I personally would be very cautious about opening a trade into that resistance point unless this comes back down, reloads around the 267 mark, which I'll set an alert there. We'll have a look at that. And then from there, potentially, let's have a quick little look. I'd be looking at something around that point there. That'd be your first resistance point. Stop loss, you need to cover at least towards the 50 EMA. Let me have a quick look at something here. One moment. Let's drop this in. I want to have a quick look at this. Yeah, there's a little range there. I mean, if you can get a deep entry there, wouldn't be maybe too bad. But then if we get the breakout from there, much better. So I'll keep an alert here. I'll post this one up later. But I think in reality, this should come back, retest, and then do something like that. One thing I spoke about today, and I'll just download that chart, but one thing I spoke about today, it's about having the ability to predict what's happening, not the ability to react to like all the news headlines and everything else that's coming out, because a lot of people get caught up on this, right? You get caught up on X and you're scrolling through and you're going far out. There's so much happening, Like there is a lot of noise. You see shit like this, Trump inside 100% win rate, yeah. Like there is so much noise out there in the market that it really, what's the best word? It twists your frame of mind into which way you should be thinking and which way you want to trade on your own terms. Don't get caught up in everything. Trade what works best for you. Understand how you want to predict the charts and do the best thing you can by reading through the story of what's actually happening, right? You've got the start of the story and you've got the middle of the story. The headlines are the end of the story. You do not want to be, and again, you guys do as you please. I can't give you financial advice. Again, everything we share in here is for educational purposes only, right? But remembering the fact that once it's in the headlines, that's when everyone is reacting, right? If you're reacting, you're not being proactive. And you're not essentially trading, you're just hoping for the very best that the market continues to do as it's doing because the headline told me it's going up or it's going down, right? The best moves, in my opinion, are taken from your analysis of what you can predict, not what you're sort of taking from every Joe Blow and everyone else to it under the sun who's sharing all this stuff on X. All right. It's why I focus mainly on education. And I'm a big advocate of that fact because I want to see you guys working through your own analysis. So on that note, it's 1:30. I've got my fourth analysis call for the day in about an hour, like I said, on the main Coin Bureau trading channel, guys. If you haven't done so, I would love to see you guys. Hit me up on Instagram and X. Shows you guys that are supporting. And if you can, share this on your X or your Instagram, the stream. Punch it out there as much as possible. We want to continue to grow this channel. It's doing extremely well. So thank you very much. If you need a hand, reach out to me. You guys know where you can find me. And again, there's a whole bunch of offers in the description for you guys that want to take advantage of them. Thank you very much. Have a great day, and I hope you enjoyed the stream, and I hope it gives you guys a lot of value for the rest of the week. Ciao.